everybody, Bloodman Bobby here. So yes, I watched the Mulan remake and I'm going to review it today. What did I think of this movie? I have real mixed feelings about it. And first of all, I'm going to say this is going to be a spoiler review because I think it's really necessary for me to talk about some of these scenes that happen later in the film in order to get my points across. So, in case you don't know what the story of Mulan is about, this movie is very much a remake of the 1998 animated film where the title character Mulan takes the place of her father to fight in this war in ancient China, but she has to disguise herself as a man because the army only permits one man from every household to fight for the country. What exactly are my problems with this remake? I think the first one I'll start off with is that I feel like they overemphasized the message of this movie and they could have made it more subtle and still have gotten their point across. For instance, and this is especially so in the first act of the movie, we see in the opening of the movie Mulan is chasing this chicken in order to get it back into her parents' farm, and she's chasing it, doing some martial arts. She's jumping on top of a rooftop to get it, but she slips and falls, and the village is like, and she's able to catch herself. And how does the village react? They give her a really weird kind of disgusted looks, like like she's able to do all these martial arts. Like, instead of, like, I think what would happen more realistically is, instead of being really concerned for her safety and saying, oh, is she all right, did she accidentally hurt herself, it's like, no, they give her all like really disgusted, over the top looks. And in a later scene, Mulan's mother is talking to her father and saying, no man is gonna wanna marry her if she knows all these martial arts and she's utilizing her chi in order to jump around and do all these sort of things, and they'll call her a witch. And it was just like, did they really need to go that far in order to emphasize one of the conflicts of this movie? And speaking of which, yes, as we saw in a prior trailer, one of the villains in this movie is a witch. And I think the reason why they made the villain a witch is because they wanted to juxtapose her with Mulan and say, hey, she's in a really similar situation. She has also been disgraced because she uses her chi and her energy in order to fight and, know martial arts and be able to kick butt and this sort of thing. But I just kind of felt that was really unnecessary, and really all the antics in the beginning and the villain being a witch was really unnecessary, and I kind of felt that the movie could have gotten its message across us just by telling a story. It doesn't really need all these these really over the top character reactions and changes in villains in order to get the point across and in order to tell its story. And the tensions and the relationship between Mulan and the witch, I feel, are really rushed, and I don't really feel for it. Like, for example, the first time they meet, they have their fight, and of course the witch defeats Mulan for now. The second time they meet, the witch tries to get Mulan to join her side, but Mulan says, no, you work for a coward, the leader of the invading army, so I'm not going to join you. And the third time they meet, Mulan tells the witch, I need you to join me in order to find out where the enemy is hiding and kidnapping the emperor. And I just didn't really feel I just really didn't feel for that change in relationship. I just kind of felt that the tensions and relationship between Mulan and the witch were really rushed in this movie, and I didn't really feel for it all that much. Something else that I felt was lacking in this remake was, I felt a lot of the character development and relationship building was not very good in this movie. Because, like, in this movie, even though, yeah, it's cool that Mulan knows, martial arts from the beginning, and look, she's able to kick butt, and they emphasize her as this, really tough character. I feel one of the problems with that is it kind of takes away from a lot of the tensions of the conflict of the movie, especially when it comes to, the invaders. It doesn't make them feel any very intimidating. And something else that and I felt could have been developed a lot better was her camaraderie with the soldiers in the army. Because in this film, basically what happens is Mulan doesn't really want to befriend the army at first. In fact, she's kind of the one who stops the army from getting into trouble. There's also a scene where one of the soldiers tries to befriend her, and she's like, "No, I don't want to be your friend." And the soldier is like, "All right, well, just a reminder, we're on the same team." And then when we get to scenes where Mulan is like, I vow to protect this army, and she needs them to help her or find the emperor where they're hiding him at the end of the movie. I just didn't really feel for those scenes because they didn't really uh, build that camaraderie between Mulan and the army. So I felt that was really lacking in the film. Also, the message they threw in the second half of the movie, especially when Mulan goes into battle, the message that she has to learn to be loyal, brave, and true, and she really has to learn, especially that last lesson, true. I don't really feel for her there either because that's more of a problem with the society around her, the society that wouldn't accept her as this tough fighting character. It's not like a story arc that deals with one of her personal flaws, like if she was as either a really insecure character or even an overly aggressive sort of character. This is more of a problem with the society around her rather than a personal flaw that she has to resolve. In terms of things that I did like about the movie, just to be fair, I thought the action scenes were pretty decent, but I think some of the ones in the first half of the movie kind of overused cutting. It feels a little over edited, and it made those scenes really a little difficult to follow, but I still thought in the end they were pretty decent. So I just felt that this remake was lacking character development, and a lot of the changes it made just felt really unnecessary in order to get its point across. I felt that if it just let the story be and not having to use a lot of those really exaggerated character reactions or symbolism in the beginning of the movie, it still could have gotten its message across just fine. And when I look back on the 1998 animated Disney version of Mulan, I realized like that movie had much more character development and it had much more story arcs in the movie. And I also liked how that movie used humor, particularly on the title character, makes Mulan feel much more relatable in that movie. And something else that I really liked about the 1998 animated film was it gave Mulan much more of a challenge in that movie. It gave her a much bigger story arc because in that film she started off as a quirky but well-intentioned character who grows into this really strong warrior, and that makes the threat of the Hun invasion seem much more intimidating. And in turn, when she does grow into being a really great warrior, it makes the audience want to root for Mulan more because she overcame a really intimidating challenge while still making her a very understandable character. And I know one of the really big concerns about this live action remake of Mulan was they took away the songs and basically replaced them with instrumentals of Reflection and Honor to Us All. And I'm not gonna lie, I really felt their absence throughout this movie. It made me realize that a lot of the songs in the 1998 film emphasized a lot of the character and drama in that movie. For instance, in the animated film, after Mulan gets kicked out of the matchmaker, she sings the famous song Reflection in order to show, why Mulan is feeling sad. And it really lets the matchmaker scene, the sadness of the matchmaker scene, really, it gives time for the sadness of that scene to set in. Whereas in this movie, it basically goes, she's kicked out of the matchmaker, there's a bit of sad music, and then it's on to the soldier from the Emperor's Guard coming to say, we need one man from every family to join the Chinese military. It just doesn't really give much time for the emotions of the matchmaker scene to set in. There's also another scene where I think it was supposed to be like a recreation of the burned village scene from the 1998 film. In that movie, it was very atmospheric. It's this village that's burned out on fire. They imply that many of the characters there are killed off. The sky is red. It's this really like intense scene. They even discover one character's father was killed in the battle, and I really like how that scene really spends time emphasizing the emotions and the drama of that scene. It makes the Huns seem even more intimidating for this army to take on. In this live action one, basically the way it goes, they have a very similar scene where they see that one of the battalions was taken out, but I don't even think that scene lasts for like 3 minutes. It's very brief. And when they cut to one of the soldiers feeling really scared and saying, "This is no time for joking around, I'm feeling really scared," I don't really feel for that soldier because the movie didn't really let the emotions of that prior scene sink in. So overall, I felt that the Mulan remake needed more character development, and I think a lot of the changes they made felt really unnecessary because I felt that it could have just told its story in order to get the message across that, hey, look at Mulan. She's able to fight and is a really good fighter. And even if they decided to go the route where Mulan was, let's say they wanted to change it so that, Mulan was a great fighter from the beginning, if they could have done things like maybe not exaggerate the other villagers as much, or made this army more likable where she bonds with them so that when we get to the scenes where she has to team up with them, we really feel for them. We get excited. We want to see them take on the invaders and save the emperor. I felt if it could have made those changes, it could have been its own movie while still being really engrossing. So, but as is, I just have really mixed feelings on the Mulan remake. Let me know down below in the comments, have you seen this movie? Are you interested in checking it out? And until next time, this has been Blood Moon Bobby, and thank you all for watching. Hi everyone, thanks for watching this Blood Moon Bobby video. Like and share the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel to see more of my videos, and ring the bell to be notified about my latest uploads. Don't forget to follow me on social media for my latest opinions and video updates. I hope to see you next time.